So when I take a look at the world around me, I see people getting sucked up by technology more and more each day. So the other day, not too long ago, when I was traveling by train, I was sitting beside two elderly ladies, and I could tell that they had not seen each other in quite a while. One of them was really enthusiastically trying to start a conversation with her friend, but the only problem was that her friend did not respond to any of her attempts because she was too busy playing around on her iPhone. So it's kind of sad, but as an artist, I worry about the fact that about the influence technology might have on our daily basis. It seems that we prefer our digital life with all the possibilities it brings over the physical life with all the limitations it has. And in fact, I've just spotted some people who were playing around on their phone themselves while people are giving really interesting TED Talks right now. So, also as part of my work, I am, as part of my work as an artist, I'm fascinated about the influence and effect limitless technology might have on the essence of the human being. So you might wonder, what is the essence of the human being? So to answer this, I'd have to go some years back to some of our first ancestors. So these people were not really in luck. They had a really rough start because they basically didn't have anything. They weren't strong, they weren't fast, they didn't have sharp teeth or sharp claws like other animals did. So they started their life with a lot of limitations. But because of these limitations, they had to come up with creative solutions to overcome them to ensure the survival of their species. So, they started using their brains, and it kind of worked because they built an entire human existence upon it. We could say that the essence of the human being is creatively adapting our environment to overcome limitations we face in life to ensure the survival of our species. Over time, we have been building technology around ourselves as a safe cocoon. And I would like to ask you to take a look around in the space you're in right now. Basically, everything you see is here because of a technological invention we have made. And we have made these technological inventions because at some point in time, there was a limitation we had to overcome. For example, your shoes. We all wear shoes, but it's not advised to walk around the street on bare feet because you could get hurt, you could step in something sharp, you could not access all areas, or you could get sick. So we invented something for all these limitations, which were shoes. So eventually, because of all the urge we have as humans to overcome all these limitations and creatively adapt our environment, we were able to climb the ladder all the way up and become the most successful animal to roam this earth. So, let's see. Right, I'll skip ahead. So it seems that we are really attracted to this digital world. I guess we all have Facebook profiles and online profiles, stuff like that. But the fact that attracts us to this world is that we can be whoever we want to be. It's a limitless world. So I want to ask you guys, have you heard about the term catfish? I guess some of you have seen a TV show named Catfish. Well, it's a term that we nowadays use for people who pretend to be someone that they're not, using social media and so on. So, if that's the case, aren't we all a bit of a catfish? Because we all adapt our Facebook profile so that it is the way we want the world to see us, We adapt our profile photo a bit here and there, tweak it a bit here and there, so it just looks a bit better. Or, for example, people who play online role-play games, they have this character in game, and they build an entire existence around this game. They live that game. They marry other people in that game. They have children. They do basically anything they would do in a real world. So we are really attracted to the digital world. So then I wonder, the only problem we have to not completely live in that world is the computer screen. So what if we could get rid of the screen, all sorts of screens we have, your telephone screen, your computer screen, anything. What if we could completely emerge into that world? You know, it is a world we have created, so it's a world that we can completely control. Look, we're trying to control this physical world, but it's not going to work. You know, we will always end up with limitations. So if we would be able to live in the digital world, it might as well be our free pass to tackle the greatest limitation that we human beings face in life, which is death. If we would be able to get rid of our body of flesh and blood, which is the thing that makes us mortal, we would be able to live forever. So this might sound like some kind of freaky sci-fi flick, I know, but let's see. Oh, here's that guy on the computer screen. So it might sound weird, but it might happen within a matter of years, because there is this organization called the Blue Brain Project, and the project leader, Mr. Markram, who has also given a very interesting TED Talk about this subject, he claims that his organization will be able to completely emulate and digitalize a human brain, the neural structure of a human brain, within a few years, around 2019, 2020. That would mean, if it is correct that all we are, our personality, our thoughts, our dreams, everything we are, if that is just a structure of neurons, that would mean is that when you completely digitalize it exactly the way your brain is, that the digital version of your brain would also have awareness, would also have your memories. It would mean that we would be able to live in a digital world. You could continue your life in the digital world. Well, you know, in this digital world, it would be possible that it would be a limitless world. You could be whoever you want to be. You could do whatever you want to do. But I wonder if living a limitless life is really what we should want to do. Because you want to hear about the reason why I love this guy so much. Why I want to spend every second of my day with him. It's because I have been heartbroken before. So why do you choose a certain path of career? It's because you want to be of relevance to this world. It is because you want to use your time wisely. All of the motivation, all of the things we cherish, all of the things we value, everything we do in life is because we know our time is limited. It's because we know we will eventually die. So, living a limitless life would be a life without motivation, which would basically be no life at all. So, there is no love without a broken heart. There are no dreams without far-to-reach goals. We all know that death is the greatest limitation that we face in life, but it's also the greatest motivation. And I have experienced this myself. I'm sorry, but I've experienced this myself not too long ago. It was on the 1st of July of 2012, and that's the day that my mother died. She unexpectedly died of an asthma attack, and she was gone in minutes. And as much as it hurts me, it still does, I have never felt more motivated to live. And I was facing this enormous limitation of her being gone. So I was willing to fight it. I was willing to find a way to overcome this limitation and keep her alive. Which is, of course, never going to happen. It's impossible, but I could at least try. So what I did was I had some of her hairs that I got from the bed where they give her CPR. And she was going to get cremated. So I knew that she was still in those hairs. And I wanted to get her out. I wanted to get that blueprint of who she was out of those hairs. So I found a DNA laboratory who was willing to take out her DNA profile. And when I get back, let me tell you something about DNA. So there are 4 basic building blocks. ACTG, you might all have heard about it at some point. So what I got back was a long sequence of about 740 building blocks. It was just a tiny part of her DNA. And it goes on forever like this. So what I did, I'm musically raised, so I soon saw the connection between these letters and musical notes. So I converted the ACTG notation to ACEG. Then I ended up with a long sequence of musical notes. So now I had a musical DNA composition made by nature. So I was looking for a way to use her building blocks, her DNA, again as building blocks to make a new form in life, a new presence, whereby she could kind of live on. So what I made was this installation that you have seen downstairs. And what you see is the DNA structure that I converted into this circular plate. And the specks you see all resemble one of the building blocks of her DNA profile. So there are 12 tracks, circular tracks, and each of those tones belong to one of those tracks. So there are 12 tracks because I've used 3 octaves. So the A is a low, middle, and a high A in there. And for each tone there's a low, a middle, and a high octave. So as you've seen, the plate rotates at slow speed, and the rotation triggers the musical notes. So that way you listen to my mother's DNA profile in sound. And I made this installation to give her a presence in this world, to keep her close to me. So one time I was exhibiting the installation, and there were a mother and a little boy coming to check out the installation, and the boy was circling the weird thing that was lying on the floor, and he did not know what to think about it. And eventually he sat beside it and he stared at the specs, and he sat there in silence for about 10 minutes, maybe more. And the mother came up to me and she was like, I've never seen this before in my whole life. My son has a severe case of ADHD. And that is exactly the response that I would like to get from people with my work. I would like people to just stand still for a moment and wonder about the things that our physical world holds, and not just scamper off into the digital world and, put everything we have in the physical world on second place. There are so much more beautiful things to discover in limitations. For example, what happened to the hopeless romantic in a limitless world where he can have anybody he wants to have? What would happen to the creative person who could, create anything he can create without effort, but his neighbor can as well? You would not be of any relevance because anybody can have the same talents as you do. So, do we not thank everything, our whole existence, to limitations? Don't the human beings go hand in hand with limitations? Aren't we meant to be together? So, to get back to the question that I asked at the start of my talk, will a limitless life, living limitless, not be the end of the creative human being, the essence of the human being as we know it? And I would like to ask you, do you really want to live limitless? Because I certainly wouldn't. Thank you.